When my wife, Emily, told me she was expecting, I made a vow to create a life where she and our baby would never need to worry about being safe again. I'd spent a decade saving every dollar, pulling double shifts, skimping on anything that wasn't essential, all so I could purchase a peaceful home in Florida. When I finally put my signature on the papers for our house in Ravenwood Pines, I believed we'd discovered our sanctuary. The brochure described it as a secure, family-friendly community with active HOA oversight. Those words felt reassuring at the time. I had no clue they'd become a nightmare later on. Before we get started, drop a comment telling us which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story reaches. The first couple of weeks were exactly what I dreamed of. Palm trees danced in the afternoon wind. The neighbors smiled and waved as we passed. And Emily spent her mornings on the front porch, drawing up ideas for the baby's room with that radiance that only mothers-to-be possess. She was 6 months pregnant, beginning to take things a little slower, her hands constantly resting on her growing belly. Every evening I'd place my hand there as well, feeling those little kicks and trusting this was the beginning of something good. Then the knock came. 2 guys in black vests with HOA stamped on the front appeared one morning. The first was tall, had a shaved head, and wore mirrored shades like he was on some kind of operation. The other stayed behind him, holding a clipboard, acting like he was taking notes. Routine property inspection. The tall guy announced, "We've received complaints about non-compliant exterior fixtures." I was confused. Fixtures? The house passed inspection when I purchased it. Who complained? He simply shrugged. "We don't reveal that information." Emily stood beside me, her pregnant belly showing under her loose blue dress. "Do you have ID?" The clipboard guy paused, then showed us a cheap-looking paper badge. Nothing legitimate. My instincts warned me something wasn't right, but I didn't want to start problems. Emily whispered, "Just let it go. It's not worth the hassle." So I backed off. They walked around to the side of the house for a couple minutes acting like they were inspecting things, then stuck a yellow notice on my door. Warning, unauthorized structure, shed. That shed had been standing there since the previous owner constructed it, but whatever. I figured it was a paperwork mistake. I snapped photos, sent an email to the HOA office, and moved on with my day. 2 days later, another notice showed up. Violation, improper mailbox dimensions. Then another, lawn height violates HOA standard. Each one signed by Inspector D. Cole, the bald guy. When I mentioned it at the next HOA meeting, Karen Mercer, the association president, dismissed it with a rehearsed smile. "Our inspectors are very thorough," she said. "If they've made a mistake, we'll look into it." Her voice made it clear she had no intention of doing so. After that, the men started patrolling the neighborhood more frequently, their white trucks sitting idle near my driveway. Emily picked up on it, too. One evening, she said quietly, "They're keeping tabs on us, aren't they?" I reassured her not to stress, that I'd deal with it if they ever crossed the line. I intended it to be comforting, but somewhere inside, I could feel something building. Because peace doesn't knock twice, and when it's gone, it never leaves without a fight. The second visit happened 3 days later, early in the morning, sun just coming up over the trees. Emily was on the porch watering her ferns, humming quietly, dressed in one of my old t-shirts. 6 months pregnant, moving more carefully now, her hand always protective over her belly. That's when I heard it. Tires grinding on the gravel. Same white truck, same 2 guys. They didn't even bother knocking this time. The bald one, Cole, hopped out first, a clipboard tucked under one arm and a sledgehammer in the other. His partner trailed close behind, pretending to scroll through something on his phone. I walked outside, cutting off their path. "What are you doing back here again?" Cole sneered. "Final enforcement. You disregarded the citation. We're tearing down that illegal shed." I stood my ground. "That shed's been approved and on record since before I owned this place. You don't have any authority to touch it." I positioned myself between them. "There's no HOA authority to trespass on private property, carrying a weapon. You're leaving right now." He chuckled under his breath. "You think your little neighborhood rules matter to us?" That's when it went down. He rushed forward and pushed me hard in the chest. I lost my balance, stumbled backward off the porch, and slammed onto the ground flat on my back. The impact knocked the wind out of me. I heard Emily scream my name, her voice filled with panic. Cole turned his attention to her. "You gonna move, lady, or do I make you?" He climbed the steps, grabbed her wrist, and shoved her shoulder. Emily fell hard, landing on her side. The water ink tumbled across the deck. I saw her hand reach for her stomach. Something inside me broke. I scrambled to my feet, vision narrowing. "Get your hands off her." He didn't even glance my way. He was reaching down, maybe to pull her up, maybe just to intimidate her. I'll never know. My Glock 19 was concealed behind my back, hidden under my shirt. I drew it on pure instinct, arms locked, every noise disappearing except my pulse. "Step away from her," I commanded. Cole stopped for a split second, then half-turned toward me, still gripping the hammer. I fired twice. The first shot struck his thigh. The second grazed his shoulder. The hammer fell, hitting the wood with a clang as he screamed and collapsed. His partner's eyes went huge, hands shooting up, trembling, stammering. He hadn't signed up for this. I kept my weapon aimed at both of them while I grabbed my phone and called 911. "This is a homeowner in Ravenwood Pines," I said, voice strained. "Armed trespass, one person injured. My wife's pregnant and she's hurt. Send officers and paramedics." Now, if you're enjoying this HOA story so far, hit like and subscribe because the story's only going to get more intense. By the time the officers showed up, the scene was absolute chaos. Emily sat on the porch steps, hand pressed against her side, breathing heavily. The paramedics examined her vitals. She and the baby were okay. The man I'd shot, Cole, was on the ground, moaning, leg wrapped tight in a field tourniquet. I stood next to the railing, hands up, Glock 19 sitting on the porch table, slide locked back. "Sir, step away," the lead officer ordered. I complied, slow and steady. "Weapons secure," I said. They confiscated the hammer lying on the deck before handcuffing Cole's partner, who kept shouting that this was official HOA enforcement. The officer, a tall woman named Ramos, turned to face me. "You the homeowner?" "Yes, ma'am." "Do you have a permit for that weapon?" I pulled out my wallet and handed her both my concealed carry permit and firearm registration. She checked the serial number, cross-referenced it, then gave a slight nod. "Appreciate your cooperation. This will be held as evidence until the district attorney reviews the case." I let out a breath. "He assaulted my wife. She went down. I fired to stop him." Ramos nodded. "Under Texas Penal Code 9.32, that counts as justified use of deadly force, protecting another person from serious bodily harm." They photographed everything. The watering can, the hammer covered in mud. Emily's hand never let go of mine. By late afternoon, the sheriff himself showed up. "Mr. Larson," he said, "we've gone over the ring camera footage. You're in the clear. Looks like they weren't here on any official business. They were enforcing bogus HOA regulations. The actual HOA board just verified it." The following week, everything fell apart for them. Cole made it through surgery and was arrested from his hospital bed in handcuffs. He and his partner were hit with charges of aggravated assault, criminal trespass, and attempted destruction of private property. But that was only the beginning. The county prosecutor opened an investigation into the entire HOA. Turns out Karen Mercer, the HOA president, had greenlit the inspection without a single legitimate document. She'd even offered Cole a $2,000 compliance bonus if he could get the Larsons to fall in line. Text messages confirmed it. When the district attorney finished, 6 board members were facing civil conspiracy charges. The HOA's liability insurance declined to cover intentional criminal acts, which meant every cent came straight from their own bank accounts. A month later, our lawyer filed a civil lawsuit, wrongful entry, assault, and emotional distress. The settlement came quickly once the evidence made the county news. The HOA's attorney described it as the fastest implosion in local history. We were awarded $185,000 in damages, more than enough to pay for Emily's medical expenses and legal costs. The HOA fell apart within 2 weeks. Karen stepped down publicly, breaking down on camera, insisting she never intended for things to escalate like this. The sheriff later informed me the state permanently revoked Cole's private enforcement license. He'd never legally wield a hammer in anyone's yard again. That evening, as I secured the porch gate, I stared at the spot where Emily had gone down. The boards were replaced, clean and sturdy. The air was calm again. No trucks, no yelling, just silence. And as I stood there holding Emily's hand, I understood one thing for certain. The next time someone claimed HOA authority on my property, they'd think twice before stepping past that fence.